Now, Scots Greys! Now! Those men on grey horses are terrifying.
They are the noblest cavalry in Europe and the worst led.
As the world spun on its axis, history was painted with blood and valor on battlefields. Each historic battlefield whispers tales of courage, sacrifice, and epic-defining moments. Our journey begins now, traveling through time to visit 10 such historic battlefields. Number 1, the Battle of Gettysburg, USA. Amidst the undulating landscape of Pennsylvania, Gettysburg silently holds the legacy of one of the most significant battles in American history. It was here from July 1st to 3rd, 1863, that the Civil War's tide was turned. The Union and Confederate armies clashed in what would become the war's bloodiest battle, claiming a total of 51,000 casualties. The town of Gettysburg, on the first day of the battle, was plunged into chaos when Confederate forces clashed with the Union's Army of the Potomac. Union soldiers were pushed back to Cemetery Hill, setting the stage for the battle's pivotal moments. On the second day, the Union, led by General George G. Meade, held firm against repeated Confederate assaults. The landscape became a grim panorama of fallen soldiers and decimated artillery. The third day saw the ill-fated Pickett's Charge, a desperate attempt by Confederate General Robert E. Lee to break the Union line. Approximately 12,500 men, led by Major General George Pickett, marched across an open field, only to be decimated by Union artillery and infantry. This disastrous charge marked the battle's climax, after which the Confederates retreated, marking a significant turning point in the Civil War. Visiting Gettysburg today, one can almost hear the echoes of cannon fire and the shouts of men. Walking across the now peaceful fields, you're immersed in the profound significance of this place. Notable sites include Cemetery Hill, the high watermark of the rebellion, and the Soldiers' National Cemetery, where President Abraham Lincoln delivered his famed Gettysburg Address. The battlefield also boasts a museum and visitor center, providing a comprehensive view of the battle's history. At Gettysburg, each monument, each cannon, each marking on the battlefield stands as testament to the heroism and sacrifice displayed over those 3 fateful days. It embodies not only a historic military event, but also a societal turning point. The echoes of Gettysburg continue to reverberate through time, a somber reminder of the cost of division and the price of unity. The battlefield is a must-visit, an open history book that invites you to step inside its pages and live the events that shaped a nation. Number 2, the Battle of Waterloo, Belgium. Situated 15 kilometers south of Brussels, Belgium, lies the tranquil countryside of Waterloo, a quiet reminder of the ferocious battle that unfolded here on the 18th of June, 1815. It was here that one of the world's greatest military strategists, Napoleon Bonaparte, suffered his final defeat. On that fateful day, Napoleon, back from his brief exile on Elba and in command of the French army, clashed with the armies of the 7th Coalition, led by the Duke of Wellington and Prussian Field Marshal Gebhard von Blücher. The Battle of Waterloo was not merely a military engagement. It was a monumental clash that put an end to Napoleonic imperial ambitions and realigned the power dynamics of Europe. The battle began early, with Napoleon's forces attacking the British-held chateau of Hougoumont in an effort to destabilize Wellington's right flank. Wellington's forces, however, defended Hougoumont tenaciously, tying down thousands of French soldiers who could have been used elsewhere. Meanwhile, the Prussian army, previously defeated at Ligny, regrouped and marched towards Waterloo to aid Wellington. Despite repeated attacks, the Allied lines held firm, with soldiers huddled in squares to fend off French cavalry charges. As the day wore on, the arrival of Prussian forces gradually tipped the scale in favor of the coalition. The final act of the battle came late in the day, as Napoleon, desperate to break the increasingly robust coalition forces, committed his elite Imperial Guard. Yet even this was not enough. The British foot guards held their ground, repelling the French attack, leading to a rout as the French forces panicked and fled. The Prussians, now fully committed to the fight, pursued the retreating French, ensuring a decisive coalition victory. Today, the battlefield at Waterloo remains a poignant testament to the dramatic confrontation. Visitors can explore the Visitor Center and the interactive exhibits at the Memorial 1815 Museum, which provide detailed insights into the strategies, the key players, and the personal experiences of soldiers. The panorama, a huge circular painting, gives a vivid representation of the battle in all its fierce intensity. Undoubtedly, the most striking feature is the Lion's Mound, a large artificial hill topped by a cast-iron lion, erected to commemorate the spot where William II of the Netherlands was knocked from his horse. Climbing the 226 steps to the top of the mound offers panoramic views of the battlefield, a peaceful scene vastly different from the smoke and clamor of that day in 1815. A visit to Waterloo is not merely an exploration of a historic battle, it is an insight into a defining moment in European history. This place stands as a silent witness to the downfall of a remarkable military leader and the dawn of a new era. Waterloo is an enduring symbol of the unpredictable tides of history and a vital lesson in the cost and the chaos of war. Number 3. The Battle of Thermopylae, Greece. Nestled between the mountains and the sea in central Greece, Thermopylae, known as the Hot Gates, is a symbol of heroic resistance. This narrow pass witnessed one of history's most famed battles in 480 BC, when a small Greek force, led by King Leonidas of Sparta, made a valiant stand against the massive Persian army under King Xerxes I at Xerxes, aiming to conquer Greece, marched his army towards Athens. Thermopylae, a narrow coastal pass, was chosen by the Greeks as the ideal position to delay the Persian advance. Led by Leonidas, a small force of approximately 7,000 Greeks, including his elite 300 Spartans, blocked the pass. On the battle's first 2 days, the Greeks successfully repelled the Persian onslaught. The Spartans, renowned for their military skill and discipline, were particularly effective, their phalanx formation a bulwark against the Persian tide. The Persian immortals, Xerxes' best soldiers, failed to break through. However, a local resident, Ephialtes, seeking reward from Xerxes, betrayed his countrymen by revealing a mountain path that led behind Greek lines. This shifted the tide of battle. Leonidas, upon learning of the treachery, dismissed most of his troops, choosing to stay behind with his 300 Spartans and several hundred Thespians and Thebans. On the third day, the Persians attacked from both sides. Leonidas and his men fought until the last, selling their lives dearly. The Persians won the pass, but at a steep cost, and the Greek resistance at Thermopylae allowed other city-states time to prepare for the Persian invasion. Today, a stone monument stands at the site of the Battle of Thermopylae, a modern tribute to ancient heroism. The inscription upon it echoes the words reportedly sent by Leonidas to Xerxes, "Milan Labe, come and take them." Nearby stands a larger-than-life bronze statue of Leonidas, an imposing reminder of the Spartan king who chose to stand his ground. Also worth visiting is the Thermopylae Museum, an interactive experience that educates visitors about the battle, the warriors, and the strategies employed. The innovative use of technology provides an immersive experience, placing you in the heart of the conflict. Walking the pass at Thermopylae, one can almost hear the clash of spears and shields, the cries of the valiant, and the winds of history blowing through the centuries. This battlefield speaks to us of a time when a small band of warriors chose to face overwhelming odds, embodying the indomitable spirit of resistance and the courage to face seemingly insurmountable adversity. The Battle of Thermopylae, while a tactical loss, was a strategic victory, providing a morale boost to all of Greece and becoming a symbol of heroic resistance against invasions. It is a battlefield that tells a tale of courage and sacrifice, standing as an enduring testament to the bravery of those who fought and fell there. Number 4. The Battle of Hastings, England. Just north of the coastal town of Hastings in East Sussex, England, stretches the site of a conflict that would forever change the course of British history. The Battle of Hastings, fought on the 14th of October, 1066, marked the last successful invasion of England and the beginning of Norman rule. Following the death of King Edward the Confessor without a clear heir, England was plunged into a succession crisis. The throne was claimed by Harold Godwinson, Earl of Wessex, who was quickly crowned king. However, his rule was disputed by two powerful rivals, Harold Hardrada, the King of Norway, and William, the Duke of Normandy. After successfully defending his crown against Hardrada at the Battle of Stamford Bridge, Harold Godwinson was forced to march his weary troops south to meet the Norman threat. Meanwhile, William, with his Norman-French army, landed unopposed on the south coast. The two forces met at a site now known as Battle near Hastings. Harold's army, composed primarily of foot soldiers, formed a shield wall atop Senlac Hill. William's army, in contrast, was a mix of infantry, archers, and cavalry. The battle began with the Normans struggling to break the Saxon shield wall. A pivotal moment came when the Normans, struggling against the Saxons, feigned a retreat. Some of Harold's men broke ranks to pursue, breaking the shield wall and leaving openings for the Normans to exploit. This strategy, whether planned or accidental, turned the tide for the Normans. The battle's climax came with the death of King Harold, supposedly by an arrow to the eye. With their leader dead, the English forces faltered and were gradually overcome. William, now known as William the Conqueror, marched to London, where he was crowned king on Christmas Day, initiating a new era in English history. Today, the battlefield is home to the Battle Abbey, built by William as a penance for the bloodshed. The Abbey's visitor center provides a wealth of information about the battle, the opposing forces, and the impact of the Norman conquest. Walking the grounds, one can visualize the formations, clashes, and strategic moves as they occurred. A standout feature is the monumental sculpture by Mark Corrith depicting King Harold and a Norman knight in combat. Other landmarks include the gatehouse, the dormitory ruins, and the spot where King Harold is said to have fallen, marked by a stone plinth. The Battle of Hastings remains a key moment in English history, signaling the end of the Anglo-Saxon era and the beginning of the Norman influence. Visiting this site is a journey into a pivotal moment of change, where power was contested and history was shaped by the sword's edge. It is a must-visit for anyone interested in history, warfare, or the origins of modern England. Number 5. The Battle of Bunker Hill, USA. On the Charlestown Peninsula, just north of Boston, Massachusetts, stands a monument marking the site of the first major battle of the American Revolution, the Battle of Bunker Hill. Fought on June 17, 1775, it was not the decisive victory that the British had hoped for, but a beacon of courage and determination for the American colonists. Even though the battle is named after Bunker Hill, the primary conflict occurred on Breed's Hill, where the inexperienced colonial forces decided to fortify. When the British troops under General William Howe realized this, they launched an attack to dislodge the Americans from their advantageous position. The British forces, composed of light infantry and grenadiers, were met with fierce resistance. The colonists, under the command of Colonel William Prescott, were low on ammunition and had been instructed to conserve it. The legendary order, the British launched two major assaults on the hill, both repelled by the formidable colonial defense. It was only on the third assault, when the colonists' ammunition was nearly depleted, that the British successfully took the hill. Despite their victory, the British suffered heavy casualties, with nearly half of the troops killed or wounded. Today, a 221-foot granite obelisk crowns Breed's Hill, the Bunker Hill Monument, honoring the colonists who stood their ground against a professional army. Climb its 294 steps, and you'll be rewarded with a panoramic view of Boston and its harbor, a silent observer of the city that was once the heart of the American Revolution. The Battle of Bunker Hill, though technically a British victory, was a morale boost for the American colonists. It proved that they could stand against the seasoned British military, paving the way for their continued resistance and ultimate victory. Today, Bunker Hill stands as an enduring symbol of the American spirit of resilience and defiance in the face of overwhelming odds. It is a testament to the birth of a nation, born out of conflict and the pursuit of freedom. Number 6. The Battle of Verdun, France. In the heart of the Lorraine region in northeastern France, the city of Verdun and its surroundings bear the scars of one of the longest and bloodiest battles of World War I. The Battle of Verdun, fought from February 21st to December 18, 1916, remains an enduring symbol of the horror of war and the unyielding spirit of the French nation. The battle began with a massive German offensive, led by Crown Prince Wilhelm, targeting the fortifications around Verdun. The goal was not to take the city, but to bleed the French white, forcing them to commit troops and resources in its defense, thus weakening their overall war effort. The battle saw horrific conditions, with men fighting amidst endless artillery barrages, mud, and the ruins of shattered fortifications. Despite the heavy bombardment, the French, under the command of General Philippe Pétain, held firm with the motto, "Ils ne passeront pas," they shall not pass. One of the most intense fights occurred over Fort Douaumont, a massive fortress that changed hands several times during the battle. Its capture by the Germans in February was a severe blow to the French. However, after months of bloody fighting, French forces retook it in October, a crucial turning point. By December, the Germans had called off their attacks and the battle ended. It came at a devastating cost, with an estimated 800,000 casualties in total, making it one of the deadliest battles in human history. Visiting Verdun offers an unflinching look at the brutality of war and the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the landscape's tranquil appearance today, one can still sense the echoes of the past, of the shells, the fallen, and the struggle to hold on in the face of overwhelming odds. The Battle of Verdun was a symbol of national unity and determination for the French, and a testament to the tragic costs of war. Today, Verdun stands as a memorial to the fallen and a reminder of the horrors that must be avoided for future generations. Number 7. The Battle of Stalingrad, Russia. In the southwestern region of Russia, along the banks of the Volga River, the city of Volgograd, formerly known as Stalingrad, echoes a profound chapter in the annals of World War II. The Battle of Stalingrad, fought from August 23, 1942 to February 2, 1943, was one of the largest, longest, and bloodiest engagements of the war. It was a turning point in the conflict, marking the beginning of a series of defeats for Hitler's Nazi Germany. In the summer of 1942, Hitler launched a campaign to seize Stalingrad, a major industrial city and a gateway to the oil-rich Caucasus. However, what the Germans anticipated would be a swift victory turned into a brutal stalemate, with both sides suffering heavy losses. The Soviets, led by General Vasily Chuikov, adopted a strategy of hugging the enemy, engaging in close-quarters combat to negate the Germans' air superiority. Fighting was intense and merciless, with battles raging for every building, street, and factory. The city's ruins provided a harsh backdrop to a desperate struggle, with soldiers and civilians alike facing the horrors of war. One of the most fiercely contested locations was the tractor factory, a symbol of Soviet industry. Here, even as the battle raged, production continued, with tanks rolling off the assembly line and straight into combat. By November, the Red Army launched Operation Uranus, a counteroffensive that encircled the German Sixth Army. Cut off, and with supplies dwindling, the German forces, despite Hitler's orders to fight to the last man, capitulated in February 1943. The Battle of Stalingrad was a testament to the power of human resilience and the high cost of war. It marked a turning point in World War II, the moment when the tide began to turn against the Nazis. The battle's memory serves as a poignant reminder of the costs of global conflict and the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable hardship. Number 8. The Battle of Normandy, D-Day, France. On the coast of northern France, a stretch of beaches, fields, and towns are united by a shared history of one of the most pivotal events of World War II, the Battle of Normandy, also known as D-Day. On June 6, 1944, this region was the site of the largest amphibious invasion in history, marking the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. Operation Overlord, as the invasion was codenamed, was a meticulously planned assault by the Allies on the heavily fortified German-occupied coast of Normandy. The operation comprised land, air, and sea elements, with forces from the United States, Britain, Canada, and other Allied nations. The early hours of D-Day saw airborne troops parachuting behind enemy lines to secure key bridges and disrupt German communications. As dawn broke, an armada of over 5,000 ships approached 5 landing beaches codenamed Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. Each beach presented unique challenges, from the heavy resistance at Omaha to the successful assault and inland push at Utah and Sword. Despite fierce German resistance and numerous obstacles, the Allies secured a foothold along all 5 beaches by the end of the day. The battle, however, was far from over. It took weeks of intense combat and significant casualties to break through the German defenses and begin the liberation of France. Today, the Normandy landscape is dotted with cemeteries, memorials, and museums dedicated to those who fought in this decisive battle. Each landing beach offers its unique narrative, with remnants of German defenses, memorials, and informative markers. The Battle of Normandy is a poignant reminder of the courage, sacrifice, and determination of those who fought for freedom. The quiet beaches and the fields, once scenes of intense conflict, now stand in tranquil testimony to the events of D-Day and the weeks that followed. A visit to Normandy offers an invaluable perspective on a battle that changed the course of history. It is a journey of remembrance and reflection on the human cost of war and the value of peace. Number 9. The Battle of Culloden, Scotland. The Scottish Highlands, with their stark beauty and rich history, hold a deep sorrow in the form of Culloden Moor. Here, on April 16, 1746, the last pitched battle on British soil took place. The Battle of Culloden. This devastating encounter was the final act of the Jacobite Rising of 1745, a rebellion led by Charles Edward Stuart, or Bonnie Prince Charlie, who sought to reclaim the British throne for the House of Stuart. Culloden was not a battle between nations, but a civil war, with Scottish clans and families divided in their loyalties. The Jacobites, largely composed of Highland clans, were up against the British government forces, made up of Lowland Scots, English, and others. The battle itself was over in less than an hour, but its consequences were far-reaching and enduring. The Jacobites, outnumbered and outmaneuvered, faced a catastrophic defeat. Approximately 1,500 Jacobites were killed, while the government forces suffered fewer than 300 casualties. Bonnie Prince Charlie escaped, leaving his men to their fate and the Jacobite cause in ruins. In the aftermath, the British government enacted harsh penalties to quell any further rebellion. The Gaelic culture, the clan system, and the very way of life in the Highlands were systematically dismantled, leading to the infamous Highland clearances. A visit to Culloden is more than a walk through a battlefield. It is a journey into a critical point in Scotland's history, a moment when the fate of its people was irrevocably changed. The Battle of Culloden resonates through time, its legacy seen in the Highlands culture and its echoes heard in the plaintive strains of Gaelic music. It stands as a poignant testament to a clash of aspirations and the tragic cost of war. Number 10. The Battle of Zama, Tunisia. On the plains of what is now Tunisia in the year 202 BC, the final confrontation of the Second Punic War took place, the Battle of Zama. This historic clash marked the end of Carthaginian power and cemented Rome's dominance in the Mediterranean. It is famed for the strategic genius of Scipio Africanus and the downfall of Carthage's great commander, Hannibal Barca. Hannibal had spent years on the Italian peninsula, bringing Rome to its knees with his brilliant tactics, including his famous victory at the Battle of Cannae. However, Scipio, a Roman general who had observed Hannibal's strategies, posed a new challenge. Scipio managed to shift the war's theater from Italy to North Africa, forcing Hannibal to return to Carthage to face him at Zama. The battle's outcome hinged on the use of Roman infantry, Numidian cavalry, and a crucial tactical decision by Scipio. Hannibal, known for his formidable war elephants, started the battle with an elephant charge, hoping to disrupt the Roman lines. But Scipio had prepared for this, creating lanes through which the elephants could pass, reducing their impact. The main body of both armies was made up of infantry. In this clash, the well-drilled Roman legions had the upper hand. Finally, the Numidian cavalry, allied with the Romans, managed to rout the Carthaginian cavalry and attack Hannibal's infantry from the rear, securing a decisive Roman victory. Visiting the region offers an opportunity to immerse oneself in the rich tapestry of ancient history that Tunisia holds, from the remnants of the powerful Carthaginian Empire to the Roman ruins that followed their conquest. The story of the Battle of Zama reminds us of the rise and fall of great powers and the individuals, like Hannibal and Scipio, who leave indelible marks on the pages of history. It stands as a potent reminder of our past and a fascinating lens into the complexities of historical change.